Hi, and welcome to another edition of Jargon Slayer. Larry Smith here with you again. We're going to start out today with a little bit of jargon, and that jargon is called a cookie. And you may have heard that term when you're around the internet or reading articles about the internet. And a cookie is just a small file that's placed on your hard drive by a website, so not in your control, in order to identify you when you visit again, or to identify information about particulars on their website when you visit again. You have the ability in most browsers to turn the cookie on or off. If you turn the cookie off, then when you go back to the site, it's like it's the first time you visited it, which is fine. Today in Jargon Slayer, I'm going to do a little demo with Office 2010, actually the Word part of Office 2010, and I think there's going to be 4 tips in this demo that you may find useful, so go ahead and watch the demo. Hi, in today's demo we're going to talk about a few Word 2010 tips and tricks. So here we go. The first one I'm going to talk to you about is if you need to distribute a Word 2010 document to others for reviewing or editing, or if you need to create documents containing large sections of data, it might prove useful to add line numbers. Referencing a particular line number may be much easier than saying the third line of the 4th paragraph on page 12, for example. Okay, so to put line numbers in your document automatically, you go up to Page Layout, and then you click on this one that says Line Numbers, and you say Continuous. And you notice that continuously I now have numbers on the left side of my document. If you want to exclude a paragraph, let's say I want to exclude this one here, just click inside it, come down here and say Suppress for current paragraph, and you notice it skipped it. If we go back to this one and do the same thing, Suppress for current paragraph, it's now skipped them for that. So you can go back and turn these on and off as you desire. Now maybe you don't like the font or how far it's spaced off or whatever, and so you'd like to change that, or maybe you want to skip numbers somehow. So just click on Line Numbers itself, go down to the bottom where it says Line Number Options, and then you go to Line Numbers down here, and when you click on Line Numbers, now you can start. You can set how far from text you want, how much you want it to count, whether you want to restart in each page or each section, and continuous. So that's how you can add line numbering to a document. Certain Microsoft Word 2010 documents may contain sections of text with scientific, medical, or other technical jargon, quotations with misspelled words or lack of punctuation, or transcriptions of conversations where formal English rules are not always obeyed. When typing or inserting such text into documents, you may grow tired of seeing green or red squiggles underneath. Conversely, you may be editing another user's document and wonder why certain blocks of text are not being proofread correctly. You may know you typed a word incorrectly, for example, but Word 2010 just doesn't mark it. Yet elsewhere in the document, Word underlines such text with a red squiggly. Why is this? Well, I'm going to show you. First off, let's select the blocks of text. A block of text. Now I'm going to select this first paragraph up here. Then you go to the Review tab, and then you go over here to the Language tab, and you click the drop-down menu under Language, and you set proofing language. And inside this dialog box right here, it says Do Not Check Spelling or Grammar. If I check that box and say OK, you notice that I misspelled Windows here. It is not highlighted or marked. If I go back now to this box, go to Language, set proofing language, take that check mark off, and say OK, now Windows is telling me there's an error and it will correct it. So that's how you can turn on and off proofing for a block of text. It doesn't have to be a whole paragraph. It can be a few words, whatever you want. You might find this feature useful in some situations. Microsoft Word 2010 can be configured to automatically attach a sheet of document properties at the end of all printouts. This type of information includes the document file and path, the title, the subject, the author, creation, last saved and last printed dates, as well as the number of pages, words, and characters. In order to see this information, or have this information printed, you want to go up to the File tab in the upper left up there. And once you're into the File tab, you go down here to Options. When you click Options, then we go to Display. And once you click Display, on the bottom third down here are printing options. And one of those is Print Document Properties. If we were to check that, all the document properties for this particular document would be shown. For various reasons, you might need to know how many words or paragraphs are in a current Microsoft Word 2010 document. While the word or page counts may appear in the status bar, there are two ways to get more detailed information. So the first way up here on the ribbon bar is to hit the Preview tab. From the Preview tab, you go over to Proofing Tools on the left and double-click Word Count, and the dialog box comes up with the pages, words, characters with no spaces, and characters with spaces, paragraph, line numbers. It also includes text boxes, footnotes, and endnotes. If you don't want those included, just uncheck this box. I don't have any of those in this document, so the numbers don't change. A second way, and probably even a faster way to see the word count, all of these dialog boxes, go down to the bottom left here where it says Words, and double click on Words, and it brings up the word count dialog box again. That's how you can get the counts of words in 2010. Okay, now if you've got any questions about that demo we just ran, please contact me. Be glad to help. Today, again, I have Chuck Gallen with me, and if you remember, he was in our first video, Jargon Slayer, and he's here to talk about networking, specifically the new network you're going in and the wireless network in the building. So, Chuck, first, can you explain our current status of wireless networking in the building?
Yes, Larry. I'd like to first differentiate that there's a public wireless network and a private wireless network. The public, obviously, for the public, and the private is for employees to use. The public wireless network has been installed by Qwest, and right now it exists on the on the third and the fourth floor, and we're working to get that extended throughout the building. The private wireless network, it has a couple of locations, and those are for employees to use when they're carrying a laptop, and there's no cable to plug in anywhere. And we're actually working towards getting that throughout the building because it only exists at this time in a couple of locations.
Okay, great. Now, can we talk about the new install of the networking gear that you talked about in the first Jargon Slayer?
Yeah, as everybody might remember, the ProCurve switching equipment was on order when we first did the video, and now it's actually installed in the equipment racks in the permanent locations. When we first received it, we unpackaged it, of course, and we installed it onto a shelving unit and plugged it all together and did some programming on it and did some configuration first just to make sure it was talking. So the switches do talk amongst themselves, and now that they're in their permanent location, we're going to be installing some high-speed fiber optic cable to get them connected throughout the building.
Okay, great. And in this process, do you expect interruptions to the clients?
I don't expect any interruptions at all. When we do decide to when we do schedule the actual cutover from the old Cisco gear to the new HP equipment, there will be email sent out and everybody will be notified. There will be an outage, a temporary outage on the weekend, so everybody will be notified of that.
Okay, great. And so when we get closer to the date, you'll let us all know.
Absolutely. We're actually trying to schedule this for sometime in June, perhaps the second half of June.
Great, Chuck. Well, I appreciate your time coming in today. If you have any questions about the networking, you can get a hold of Chuck. And again, for Larry and the team here at Jargon Slayer, thanks for watching.